So in this video, we'll revise rickettsial infections briefly. So you can remember that with this cartoon. So basically remember an indoor tennis match, rickettsia tennis match. So it is indoor, right? It means that the organism is an obligate intracellular organism. So tennis balls, they're yellow in color, they're not pink or blue. So that means they're gram negative, they're colorless, and they're spherical, right? So cocci. So obligate intracellular organism, cocci, and gram negative. Okay. So basically, here you can see that there is a rash that is being caused. So it means that it causes a spot rash, rickettsia. And you can see two tennis players are playing. One of them is Felix. His name is Felix. Okay. And this net looks like a tennis net, looks like a whale. So whale Felix test is a non-specific test that is used. And here you can see the coach. So CoA, and he's holding a bottle of NAD and ATP. So NAD plus CoA, ATP are insufficient. And here you can see a lot of people watching the match. Okay, these people are wearing white t-shirts, they're colorless. So again, white, colorless, gram negative. And you can see the tennis net, it is kind of like blood vessels interlaced together, and there is a tear in between. So there is vasculitis, because the ultimate cellular target is the vascular endothelial cell for rickettsia. And the drug of choice, here you can see a cycle with a dog on it. So it is doxycycline. That being said, let's start. So at the end of the session, we'll be able to understand all these things. So general properties, rickettsia, small, non-motile. So because they're tennis balls, they don't have any structure, so they're non-motile, gram negative, coccobacilli. They're obligate intracellular organisms. They're not cultivable in artificial media. Okay, they're not cultivable in artificial media. So that is why you grow them in cell lines, or by growing them in embryonated eggs. Okay, they're transmitted by arthropod vectors such as ticks, mites, flea, or louses, and they infect the vascular endothelial cells. They're the final target site. Okay, moving on to the classification. So the family Rickettsia has two pathological species. Things. So one is Rickettsia and the other one is Orientia. You can remember it as Oriental rickets. Okay, and family Anaplasmataceae has Ehrlichia. Remember Ehrlich, Wohler. Okay, so Wolbachia, Ehrlichia, and Anaplasmataceae obviously, and Neorickettsia, all of them are under this family. Classification. Former members such as Coxiella and Bartonella are excluded from Rickettsia family because Coxiella is not arthropod borne and Rickettsia is arthropod borne, and Bartonella is not an obligated intracellular parasite. Okay. Rickettsia versus viruses. So small size and obligate intracellular properties, so they are thought to be viruses, but now they are confirmed to be bacteria because they have a gram negative cell wall. Gram negative, obviously. They multiply by binary fission. They contain both DNA and RNA. Viruses do not contain that. They're just they're basically inactive proteins, and they're susceptible to antibacterial agents. They are held back by bacterial filters, and they're large enough to be seen under the light microscope. So Rickettsia is named after the person Ricketts, who discovered that Rocky Mountain spotted fever is transmitted by ticks. Okay, we'll discuss the cartoon later. Rickettsia provazacki is named by Daroca Lima in honor of von Provazac. Both Provazac and Ricketts died of typhus, which they contracted during their study. So moving on to family Rickettsia infections. So two pathogenic genera are Rickettsia and Orientia, so Oriental rickets. Moving on to rickettsial infections, they're categorized into two groups based on the clinical manifestations, typhus group and spotted fever group. So the typhus group, here you can see the species are Provazaccae and Typhi. Okay, so Provazaccae provokes. Okay, so it if you provoke something, it becomes a very big incident, right? So it becomes an epidemic, and an epidemic is always lousy. So it is transmitted by louse, and R. provazaccae causes epidemic typhus. It also causes Brill-Zinsser disease. Okay, but one thing you need to remember is this epidemic worldwide, and again endemic typhus is also spread worldwide. The rash is spread 80% throughout the trunk, and here in epidemic typhus it is all over the body except the palms and soles. So in the wheel Felix test, you can see an OX of 19.4 plus marks and OX2 plus or minus. OX 19.4 plus marks, OX2 plus or minus. Okay, it is same for both. So features of Rickettsia: in the spotted fever group, in typhus group, we had Provazaccae and Typhi. So provoking type. Okay, provoking type. And here you have rickettsia rickettsii. So they cause Rocky Mountain spotted fever. It is transmitted by tick. Okay, so it is distributed in America, Rocky Mountains, obviously South America. And when you're climbing a mountain, you use your hands and feet, right? So 90% of your extremities are affected by the rash. Okay, and Whale Felix, OX19 plus plus and OX2 plus plus. Okay, and R. conori, I ending. So Connor, it's an honor to be in India. So Indian tick typhus. So Indians tick mark. Okay, so tick Europe and Asia. Again the same thing, 19 plus plus and 2 plus plus. And R. Africae. So African tick bite fever. Tick again, sub-Saharan Africa. Here, okay, take it again. And R. acari. It is found in the USA, Ukraine especially, Mexico. So rickettsial pox. Acari causes pox. Okay. So it is transmitted by mites. So mighty pox. Okay. Mighty pox. So mites transmit rickettsial pox. Acari. So features of rickettsia. So scrub typhus. You have Orientia tsutsugamushi. It causes scrub typhus and it is spread by the mites, trombiculids. Okay, so the rash is 50% in the body. And Whale Felix, you have OXK plus plus plus. So moving on to the antigenic structure. So you have the cell wall, which is similar to that of gram-negative bacteria. OMP antigens are species specific and highly immunogenic. They're used for vaccine as well as for serodiagnosis. So OMP antigens are species specific, OMP. And LPS antigens are group specific. They're found in some rickettsia and they're shared by certain strains of Proteus. LPS, okay, OMP and LPS. So OMPLIPS, okay. And pathogenesis by arthropod vectors. They spread through the lymphatics and from the portal of entry. Then they multiply in the regional lymph nodes and then they spread via the bloodstream to the final targets, which are vascular endothelial cells. So what happens then is they first phagocytosis. When they end up on the vascular endothelial cells, they adhere to it by OMP-A and OMP-B, which are species-specific proteins that are present on the rickettsial surface. Then they are phagocytosed. They inhibit the phagolysosomal fusion or resist lysosomal killing. So they survive intracellularly. Then they multiply by binary fission. That is how you know they are bacteria and not viruses. And then they spread from cell to cell by actin polymerization. Now moving on to epidemic typhus, so which is louse-borne lousy epidemic, right? It is caused by provocations of Provazaccae, so human body louse again. The louse acquires the infection by taking the blood meal from an infected patient. So that is how the louse acquires the infection. And then the mode of transmission is by rubbing or scratching the skin or by inhalation, which is rare, okay, during laboratory work exposure. So clinical manifestations, there is acute febrile disease, there is headache, okay, myalgia, eye discharge and rashes obviously. Common symptoms are rash, myalgia, headache, and complications may include because you're inhaling interstitial pneumonitis and again CNS manifestations such as coma. So epidemic typhus, they're lousy, right? So that is why you have lousiness, CNS manifestation. Next, risk factors. The outbreaks occur when louse population increases during unhygienic conditions. So zoonotic cycle, you have eastern flying squirrels and their lice and fleas maintain R. provazaccae in the environment. And it is endemic in Africa and South America, and Burundi outbreak in 1997. It involved nearly 1 lakh people in refugee camps. Then you have the second disease caused by R. provazaccae, which is Brill's insert disease. It is a recrudescent illness occurring years after acute epidemic typhus. Because R. provazaccae remains latent for years and reactivation occurs due to waning or weakened immunity, which leads to sporadic occasional infection or outbreaks. Then you have endemic typhus, which is flea-borne. So endemic or murine typhus is caused by R. typhi infection. The vectors are rat flea and cat flea. Okay. So mode of transmission, rubbing or scratching of skin or by inhalation. Reservoir, you have the rodents, Rattus and R. norvegicus. So finally, endemic typhus, the clinical manifestations. So the incubation period is 1 to 2 weeks, same as that of epidemic typhus as well. So similar to epidemic typhus, but milder and rarely fatal. So the rash involves the trunk more often than the extremities. So it is endemic worldwide, especially in warm tropics. In India, you can see them in these regions. Rocky Mountain spotted fever. Look at this like a mountain climber who's climbing. So the first affected by rash are the extremities. Okay. Then it is caused by ticks. That you've climbed the rock, you get a tick mark. So they're caused by rickettsiae. The vectors are ticks. Transmission, tick bite, tick serve as a vector as well as the reservoir. Okay, so Rocky Mountain spotted fever incubation period is 4 to 14 days, approximately 1 to 2 weeks, right? So fever, headache, and rash, because mountain climbers they get headache, right? So headache, fever, and rash, and frequently myalgia and anorexia. Rash on the extremities. Initially maculopapular, but later the rash becomes hemorrhagic. And then moving on to the complications, they appear late. So there is vascular damage. So there is increased permeability, which leads to edema. And then if it leaks out if of the vessel, there is hemorrhage, and finally disseminated intravascular coagulation, interstitial pneumonitis, and CNS involvement, myocarditis, as well as renal failure. Okay, myocarditis. It is the most fatal rickettsial disease. Okay, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, because it is the most fatal, because there is the heart involvement and kidney involvement. That is why rickettsiae causes that. So geographical distribution, it is endemic in high-tech populations of USA, Central and South America, Rocky Mountains. Okay, it is more common during tick seasons, so summer in tropics, among children and males. So Indian tick typhus, it's an honor to be in India. So Rickettsia conurae, transmitted by the tick bite. Again, clinical manifestations are similar to that of Rocky Mountain spotted fever. So geographical distribution, it is prevalent in India basically. You can remember that, Southern Asia. So it is widespread, Nagpur, Jabalpur, and all these other areas. So rickettsial pox, so mitey pox, it is caused by a mite. Okay, by a bite of infected mites. It is caused by Rickettsia acari. The mice are principal reservoirs. Mice. Okay. So mighty vesicular rash. So there is a vesicles rash, mighty vesicular rash. Okay, vesicles, they kind of look like lymph nodes, right? So there is lymphadenopathy. Next, laboratory diagnosis. The non-specific test is Weil-Felix test. So you're cross-matching these antigens against antibodies detected against Proteus OX19, OX2, and OXK antigens. So in epidemic and endemic typhus, the OX19 increases. In tick-borne spotted fever, OX19 and OX2 increase. Okay, tick-borne 2 also increases. In scrub typhus, okay, SKRUB, you can remember it like this. So OXK antibody increases. So specific antibody detection by indirect immunofluorescence, ELISA, and indirect immunoperoxidase assay. So histological examination, you can do the cutaneous biopsy sample from the rash. You can isolate the organism from the rash by inoculating it into cell lines or embryonated egg cultures, cell lines such as Vero or Gila, or animals, because they do not grow in artificial cultures. And you can use PCR to detect genes encoding the 16S rRNA or the OMP genes. Treatment, you use the dog on the cycle, right? So doxycycline for 1 to 5 days. It is the drug of choice for treatment of most rickettsial illnesses, and chloramphenicol is used as an alternative. Now, vector control. What are the preventive measures? So you can control the vectors. So by using insecticides, you can control the rodents or the reservoirs. You can improve the personal hygiene, and no vaccine is available currently. So scrub typhus or Orientia, it is caused by Orientia tsugamushi. So it starts with a triangle, right? I'll talk about that. It differs from Rickettsia both genetically and by its cell wall composition. It lacks a lipopolysaccharide layer. So it occurs in areas where scrub vegetations consisting of low-lying trees and bushes are encountered. Okay. So mighty leptotrombidium, mighty leptotrombidium. So they're transmitted by the bite of infected mites of trombiculid mites of genus Leptotrombidium. And chigrosis, the larvae are called chiggers. So scrub larvae are called chiggers. Chigurulu, scrubs in Telugu, right? The shrubs, okay. So they're the only stage that feed on humans, called chigrosis. And mites can maintain the organisms through ovarian transmission. So the clinical manifestations, you see a triad. So clinical triad and zoonotic tetrad. Triad, you can see an eschar at the site of the bite, regional lymphadenopathy. So if this is the person, if he's bit on the hand, the regional lymph nodes are affected, and there's also maculopapular lash, eschar, macropapular lash, and regional lymphadenopathy. Non-specific, you can see fever, headache, obviously, myalgia, etc. So so the clinical triad is this: eschar, regional lymphadenopathy, and maculopapular rash. The zoonotic tetrad is by trombiculid mites. Okay, small animals such as rats. Secondary, scrub vegetations or forests, hence named as scrub typhus, and wet season, while mites lay eggs. So Orientia, the world scenario, is endemic to a part of the world called the Tsutsugamushi Triangle. So in the north you have Japan, in the west you have Pakistan, and in the south you have Australia. Tsutsugamushi. Okay, games in Australia in the south, then Tsu for Japan, and obviously Pakistan in the west. The Indian scenario, you have the sub-Himalayan belt that is affected. Then scrub typhus or Orientia, oriental countries, there is a rural to urban shift. So it is mainly reported from rural areas, but recently cases have been increasingly reported from urban areas also. The treatment is again doxycycline, which is a drug of choice, and alternatively you can use chloramphenicol. So laboratory diagnosis, serology is the mainstay of diagnosis. So first you start by detecting modati IgM antibodies, which appear by the end of the first week, and IgG by the end of the second week. In reinfection, IgG antibodies are detectable by day 6. IgM antibody titers are variable. And then laboratory diagnosis of scrub typhus. So Wheel Felix test is non-specific. It detects high titers of heterophile antibodies to protease antigens. So you can use indirect immunofluorescence antibodies, which is a gold standard serological test. And ELISA, you can use that by 56 kilodalton major surface protein antigens. It is cost effective. In molecular test, obviously you have PCR, which targets specific genes, 56 kilodalton or 47 kilodalton gene, and 16S rRNA gene. So early chaeosis, so family Anaplasmataceae comprises of all these 4 obligatory intracellular organisms which reside in vertebrate reservoirs and target vacuoles of hematopoietic cells. So early chaeosis is transmitted by vector-borne infection by ticks, except Neorickettsia, which is new. So it is transmitted by fish flu, so fish with flukes in them. Epidemiology, early chaeosis, it is prevalent in the USA. So Paul Ehrlich, Stanford University, USA. And clinical manifestations, you can remember headache and myalgia commonly, arthralgia also, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting. Okay, so inclusions, so they reside inside the phagosome, they multiply to produce and elementary bodies and mulberry-like inclusions called the morula. Okay, so morula in the neutrophils are detected in 20 to 75% of cases by GM sustained peripheral blood film examination and treatment against doxycycline. Then you have Q fever or query fever, Coxiella burnetii, because for a long time the causative agent was unknown. It was a query. So it is an obligate intracellular organism, Coxiella burnetii, and later it was named after the discoverers Cox and Burnett as Coxiella burnetii. The source of infection is zoonotic. Cattle, sheep, and goats carry these things. So mode of transmission is by inhalation of infected dust from the soil and rarely by ingestion of contaminated milk. Okay, Coxiella burnetii, Q fever. Okay, Q from dust from the soil when you inhale it. So that is why you find it in farming rich areas such as Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, and Delhi. It is endemic in most parts of the world except New Zealand and Antarctica, obviously. So clinical manifestations. So Coxiella starts with C, right? So 3 to 30. So incubation period is from 3 to 30 days. Acute Q fever, there is hepatitis, interstitial pneumonia, and CNS involvement, and peri or myocarditis. Chronic Q fever, there is endocarditis. Okay. So laboratory diagnosis is by small pleomorphic gram-negative cocobacilli. You isolate them because they're extremely fastidious. Q. Okay, they're extremely fastidious. Isolated from Buffy coat samples or from tissue specimens by shell vial technique in a biosafety level 3 laboratory. So you can use PCR to detect this in DNA in tissue specimens. You can use indirect immunofluorescence assay as well. Treatment again, doxycycline and quinolones are also effective in acute. Chronic fever, you use hydroxychloroquine to alkalinize the phagolysosome and to render doxycycline more effective. And prevention, you have a vaccine, QVax, which is licensed in Australia. It is an inactivated whole cell vaccine. It is recommended for occupationally exposed workers, and pasteurization of milk must be followed because that is the second way from which Q fever can be transmitted. Good animal husbandry practices should be followed. Moving on to Bartonellosis. So it is a fastidious facultative intracellular gram-negative bacteria. It is able to invade mammalian cells and RBCs. So you can remember this like this: Barton's Henry cat. Okay, Barton's Henry cat. So B. henselae. It is transmitted by exposure to cats by scratch or the bite. So cat scratch disease, bacillary angiomatosis, and bacillary peliosis. Okay, and B. Quintana, Quentin. So Quintana penta trench. You can remember these 3 words. So 5. Okay, trench fever. It lasts for 5 days, and subsequent episodes occur every 5 days or 5 days fever. So 5 days, 5 days. continues for 5 days, occurs after 5 days, continues for 5 days, occurs after 5 days. There is again bacillary angiomatosis and chronic bacteremia and endocarditis. Now, B. bacilliformis is transmitted by the sand fly, okay, because sand is formed, okay, it produces a biphasic disease. So, Oroya fever or Carrion's disease, you carry sand which is formed, so bacilliformis, Carrion's disease, and Verrugae. And laboratory diagnosis, you use the specimen's blood, lymph node, or skin biopsies. Then you use Wharton's starry silver nitrate because soil, right? Soil is formed, sand fly, sand. So you use silver nitrate, silver sand. So Wharton's starry silver nitrate staining and immunofluorescence to detect B. henselae from lymph node smears. They can be grown on blood agar at 37 degrees and intubated. So the antibody detection is by both the indirect immunofluorescence assay and by enzyme immunoassay. And PCR is done to amplify genes such as the 16S rRNA gene. So treatment of Bartonellosis in the cat scratch disease, treatment is not routinely indicated for extensive lymphadenopathy. You use erythromycin for 5 days, and in angiomatosis again you use doxycycline or erythromycin for 3 months. That is all about this chapter on rickettsia.